Good evening. Welcome to the Danvers Zoning Board of Appeals. If anyone wants an agenda, they're out on the table as you enter the room. And I'm going to ask everyone to silence their phones so we're not interrupted during the meeting. And we have minutes from the February 22nd meeting. Can I have a motion to accept those, or is there any questions or comments on
John, you
those?
have questions?
No, not on the 25th one.
So moved.
Okay.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you. Okay, I'm going to introduce the board. I'll start all the way down to my right. John Bowner, next to him Jeff Sauer, and Ken Scholes next to me. He's our clerk tonight. I'm Becky Kilborn, I'll be the chair. Ken Jarvinen to my left, and Corinne Doherty, who will be our alternate tonight. From the planning department, we have Georgia Pendergast. And I believe on Zoom, we have David Fields. Yes, David? He can't hear us. He's not waving. Okay.
I'm here.
There he is. So the procedure for tonight's meeting is the clerk will read the notice of the hearing, and then we'll ask the applicant to go up to the microphone and present their information. And if you submitted any plans with your application, Georgia will put those up on the screen so everyone can see them. We are on Danvers Cable TV, so you need to be able to use the microphone so people can hear you. And if you move over to point to anything on the screen, if you bring the microphone with you, that will be helpful. So after you present your information, we will go to the board for questions and any questions that we have on your application. And then we'll go to the audience for any questions or comments if there's anyone who wants to present any information from the audience. After that, we'll go back to the board. We'll ask you to remain silent while we deliberate, and we'll go to the board and ask them to present comments on your application. And then based on what they say, I'll tell you whether or not, what your options are for moving forward. So I think that's it, and I think we're ready to go.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair. Our first case is 49 Adams Street, zoned R1. Request to extend a previously issued dimensional variance for a period of no longer than 6 months from April 12, 2022 to October 12, 2022. Request is made by Jared Hazel, docket number 21-4924.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much. My name is Nancy McCann. I'm here on behalf of the applicant Jared Hazel, and we are requesting simply a 6-month extension of the variance that was granted last April. It was a dimensional variance relative to a multifamily development at 49 Adams Street. Variances, as you know, are only good for a year, or they have to be exercised within a year, and we can come back to the board and request a 6-month extension, which is what we are requesting. This project, once we finished with the Board of Appeals last April, required us to go for a special permit to the Planning Board and site plan approval to the Planning Board, and engineers being as busy as they are and workers being as busy as they are, it took us about 5 months to get before the Planning Board and then go through that process. So Mr. Hazel is in the process of getting his building permit application submitted, which he anticipates will be moving along pretty quickly, but he could not do that in time for an April 12 deadline. So we're just requesting the 6-month extension under 48 Section 10. That's it.
Any questions? Okay. A motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we grant the extension to, we have a date, October 12th, 2022.
Is that what you want, right? October 12th?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have
Good
a
night.
good evening. Now we can go to the grocery store.
All right, moving right along. Our next case is 10 Tibbetts Avenue, zoned R2. Request for a finding from section 3.17 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to demolish and rebuild larger, a pre-existing non-conforming single-family home. Request made by Michael Hubbard, docket 22-4966.
Good evening, my name is
Good evening.
Bob. Oh, you want to? Okay, good evening, my name is Bob Griffin on behalf of the applicant. This is probably another in a long series of improvements to houses down in Tibbetts. This is sort of an overhead view, and you can see all of the beautiful houses here along the shoreline. This particular house that Mr. Hubbard has purchased is not one of the beautiful houses here. It's this 8,000 square foot lot on the east side of Tibbetts Circle. Here's some pictures of the existing house that we're talking about here. You can see it's a one-story house in very, very poor condition. And so this is Mr. Hubbard plans to tear down this existing building and replace it with a new building in essentially the same location. So he has had some plans prepared by Eric Jarday of Seaglass Architects of Peabody, and you can see that this is a nice, beautiful, really, 2.5-story colonial-style house that will be very much in keeping with the character and quality of houses on Tibbetts Avenue. So I'm going to go back to my site plan here for a second, which is the plan that you have up there. You can see on the site plan that we have a side yard setback of 4.2 feet proposed on this north side here. This compares to the existing building, which is about 4.4 feet. And so the reason it changes slightly is just because the overhangs that the architect has designed are a little bit bigger than the overhangs on the existing building. On the south side of the building, there'll be a 14-foot setback from the property line to the overhang of the building, 15 feet to the foundation itself. And actually on this side, there's a large shed about 3 feet off the property line. So there'll be a significant improvement in the setback between the structures and the property line on the south side. On the front side, the Tibbetts Avenue side, we're pulling it back again slightly. It's about 20.3 feet currently. The foundation will be 20.6 feet off the front line following the architect's plans. So, basically the same location. We're going to improve the driveway, improve the landscaping. We'll put some nice lawn and a patio behind the house. But clearly this lot has some significant hardships because of its substandard size. It's 8,700 square feet in a zone that requires 20,000. It's a 55-foot wide lot where 125 feet of frontage is required. So it's a tiny lot in the R2 district. It's also in a flood zone, so we've got to elevate the house a little bit to get the first floor above the flood zone. And of course, we're constrained a little bit by the river itself. We've got to after we get through the Zoning Board of Appeals, we've got to get to the Conservation Commission. We also have an application pending with the Historical Commission for the demo delay. I'd be happy to address any questions the board has.
Can you review the front of the house, because the lot is so, we're familiar with the street. We've done
Right.
many houses
That's
on
right.
that street, so,
So this is the front view. So this is looking from Tibbetts directly at the house, and you can see a two-car garage here on the right side. Go up a few steps to this entrance that gets you into the first floor.
all right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm going to start with John.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Griffin, can you tell me what was, what efforts were put in to try to pull in the side setbacks, particularly the 4.2 number?
So, again, I think the architect's, layout is really, this, well, this is not an especially large house in any dimension, but the overall width of this thing is 34 feet, trying to, again, match the size of the houses that are down in the Tibbetts Avenue area. This house will end up being around 3,000 gross square feet of living space. And I think, there's just really enough room for, kitchen and sort of combined dining area in the back here. I think that they basically have left that side of the building alone, and we've improved the other side almost, essentially to the setback limit. 15 feet to the foundation will be 14 feet to the eave as compared to 15 feet required in the district.
Was there any thought to trying to center this house more on the lot, particularly since that right-hand side's not a driveway?
So I don't think that on the right-hand side, we really have any impacts from being so close at that point. You can see that the adjacent house is set much further back from the street. So being where we are, I think, doesn't really have a close proximity to either of the abutting residences, and if we moved it this way, we would certainly have more of an impact on the more southerly residents here.
Thank you. No further questions?
Jeff?
I have no questions, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, I have no questions. John asked my question.
Okay. Ken?
Yep, same with me. I have no questions. Thanks.
Green?
I just have a question about a letter.
I'm going to
that-
address that.
Okay, all right, my question was just about the letter.
Okay.
No other questions.
Okay, thanks. What's the square footage of the house? Thank you, Corinne.
About 3,880, it's about a 2,000 square feet increase as compared to the existing building.
Do that again. Sorry.
According to the architect's plans, I have 1,820 square feet on the existing building. I've got an increase of 2,060 square feet for a total of 3,880.
So it's, the existing is 1,820 square feet,
Yes,
and the new building is,
2,060 more than that for a total of 3,880. I think I did that right.
so you're adding on, you're doubling, more than doubling the size of the house.
Yep, slightly more than double.
Okay. So 3,880
That's correct.
is the new square footage.
Yep.
Did you think about building a smaller house, or, I know these houses are big down there now, but,
It is, and certainly this was an expensive lot to purchase, just because of the trend these days in
Okay.
real estate prices and all. I think that, 3,880 to me seems appropriate for the market and for the neighborhood.
okay. All right. So there's been a lot of construction down there, and Corinne is right. We got a letter from some of the neighbors regarding the construction and how it will be laid out and what you will be doing with regard to how you'll handle the electricity, how you'll handle porta potties, all of that. Can you give us kind of an overview of how that's going to happen? And will you be able to keep everything on the lot in terms of the construction?
Well, yeah, certainly. I mean, we have to keep everything on the lot.
Well, I guess there's been construction down there where they've used the cul-de-sac space.
One of the things I would mention is that the applicant here, Michael Hubbard, actually lives in the neighborhood. He lives at 11 Tibbetts, which is sort of directly across Tibbetts Avenue for here. And so he wants to remain friends with all of his neighbors, and
Okay.
he, came to this board and got permission to improve his property. And I think, he's very sensitive to keeping peace in the neighborhood and certainly doesn't want to, come and go and create any problems.
Is he here tonight?
He's not here. I think he might be connected by the World Wide Web.
Is he on? Yeah? Okay.
I am on, yes.
All right, so I'm just going to kind of ask you these questions then. How will you handle the electrical service? Will it be hooked up there, or will there be a generator running?
No, there's an existing electrical service to the lot. There'll be a temporary drop,
Okay.
during construction, and it'll continue to have an overhead electric service.
Okay, great. And you'll have a porta potty
Yeah.
on the site?
Yeah.
Okay. Where do you think the contractors will be able to park?
I mean, we don't really have a whole lot of room on site here, so they're going to have to park in the street on the side of the road.
Okay, all
But
right.
we'll certainly be able to get a dumpster in here, and so we don't need to have a dumpster in the street.
All right, and do you think you'll be able to keep all your construction materials on the site without using the street or anywhere else?
I mean, it's going to have to be a lot of deliveries from the lumber company. We're not going to get, one load or one delivery and expect that to handle the entire construction of the building. But we do have this, 15-foot wide strip next to the building here, which allows access into the back here. And we can move, materials back and forth through that strip. It's something you couldn't do with the current layout of the house because of the house and the shed sort of block, access into the backyard completely.
Okay. How many square feet from the house to that lot line?
It's 15 feet from the foundation to the lot line here.
Okay, so wide enough for a car
Or
or
a driveway
vehicle
or
to drive?
bobcat
Okay.
or something like that,
Okay.
yeah.
And then trash, you'll have a dumpster?
Yep.
And try to keep that covered so stuff's not blowing around the
Okay.
neighborhood? I mean, it's all the typical construction stuff. I think that the neighbors down there are a little sensitive because so much has gone on.
No, you're absolutely right. It's been a lot of
It's
improvements
a
over probably
tiny
5
little
or 6
area,
years.
and
yeah.
there's been a lot of, I mean, it's great what's happening, but it's
growing pains.
disruptive to the neighborhood. So, okay, I appreciate that. Do you have anything else before I go to the audience?
I do not.
Any other questions from the board? Comments? Okay.
Do we have a
all right.
timeline for the project?
Well, we still have to go through conservation, and we still have to get the Historic Commission approval. I would say probably 3 months to, kind of a number.
Okay,
So start in the summertime?
Yep.
Yep. Thank you.
thank you. Any comments or questions from the audience? No? Pretty quiet down there. All right. Go ahead, John.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I find this house, I'm torn here. I think the house there is obviously in need of replacement. But this seems like a really big structure, particularly to go from, I think it was 1,800 to 3,800. But I am in favor of it. I believe it will be an improvement. I don't believe it'll be that detrimental to the neighborhood. So I will vote for it.
Okay. Jeff?
Yeah, I will vote for this. The main reason that it's going up in square footage so much is he's adding another floor on top of the one that already exists, and he's almost not changing the foundation virtually at all. So, in granting a finding, we're asking if it's more detrimental than what presently exists, and you have to assume that this new house will be a vast improvement to the neighborhood over the existing condition. So I will vote for it.
Okay, thank you.
And I will vote for this. It's tough. It's only 8,700 square foot lot. It seems to be in tune with everything else that's going on in that neighborhood, so I will vote for this.
Okay, thank you. Ken?
Yeah, I'll vote for this too. It's in with keeping with the neighborhood, so it will look good, it will look appropriate.
And Corinne?
I will also vote for this. I really do like this neighborhood, and I think the improvements have been wonderful. I will caution Mr. Hubbard to take the concerns of your neighbors seriously. And I do know that the Postal Service has started enforcing, I guess, rules as far as where you can park, cars and trucks or whatever, and they will stop delivering mail. And this has happened to some of your neighbors, so it's not just being inconvenienced because someone's parking in front of their house or they're taking up spaces, but if they're not getting their mail because your trucks are there, that's not really fair to your neighbors. So just be mindful of their concerns and make sure that your contractors heed the warning.
Okay, I will take care of it.
And
I
I
heard
will,
something.
is that it? Huh?
I think I heard him respond, so thank you.
Oh, okay, all right. I think, I would agree, I would approve this, vote for this, but I don't really want to have to put restrictions on the approval, but I think what we've said, he's heard and you've heard, so hopefully we don't have to have any complaints down there, so, okay, all right. Have a motion, please?
Madam
You got it?
Chair,
Yep.
I move to grant the finding in accordance with Section 3.17 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to allow the demolition and expansion of the non-conforming dwelling as shown on the plan submitted by the applicant, as it is appropriate in scale and massing for the neighborhood and will not be substantially more detrimental than what presently exists.
Have a second?
Madam Chair, before a second, just a clarification. I think the applicant applied for both a variance and a finding, so the variance is not needed from what I understand.
No, based on, the board now does the finding part where they grant the finding and then you do the vote where you determine it's not as more detrimental. So Mr. Hubbard had requested a variance from that portion saying it is more, the building structure here is getting larger, the building footprint. And if the board recalls, the finding process is usually the board votes and then they say, it's not getting any larger, but in this instance it is. I may not be clarifying this correctly, but he does not need a dimensional variance. He was asking for a variance from the findings section,
Okay,
which and to clarify, we have said in the past, we no longer need the variance. It's strictly just a finding.
right.
Right.
Okay, so I just want to make that clear.
Okay.
If it is.
No, that is so
But-
the
but
variance is
it-
not
Because he did
necessary.
apply for both,
Okay,
and we're only
We're only
granting a
the
finding.
okay,
And I will second the
Good catch.
finding.
okay. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, good luck,
Thank you all very
Bob.
much. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
Sorry, George, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I saw that in there and I was like, okay, so make sure we dot all the i's.
You ready?
Yep, ready.
Okay, moving
Let's
on.
go.
Our next case is 4 Chevalier Avenue, Zone R2. Request for a special permit for a detached extended family living area within an existing detached garage in accordance with Section 9.3 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw, requested by John Espinola, docket 22-4967.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name is John Espinola, and as you just mentioned, I'm here to apply for a special permit for a EFLA for an existing 3-car garage. And as she has up there, I've submitted some plans. I don't know if Georgia can. There they are. So existing, it's just an open concept upstairs. Looks like it was set up for some sort of extended family living, as there's a second egress. I'm just looking to put an open concept, 1-bedroom style apartment, well, extended family living area. So there's the future plans on the project. That's the downstairs, the current 3-car garage, and there's a small bathroom.
So I came out, I met with you, and so just tell the board that you bought this house in 2017?
2017, yeah. like
Okay,
4.5
and this
years ago.
building was there as it currently exists?
Correct.
When you bought it?
Yeah,
Okay.
I believe it was, I'm not sure if it was built on the same year as the house or when they
Okay.
actually added the pool area. I
Okay,
think the garage was there when they built the house, and then they added the deck and the pool area afterwards,
okay. And how do you currently use that second floor?
just
So-
for storage.
Okay, all right. And then tell us how you're going to use it.
So initially, I kind of want to use it more of like a pool house in the beginning, so that we could use, while we're at the pool, cook, obviously a larger bathroom, and then in the future, I'd like to have the opportunity to either have my parents or my wife's parents move in down the road.
Okay. All right. And the size of that,
It's just under 700 square feet. I think it's 650,
670, it looks like.
657?
657?
I'm not sure.
670 on the plan.
Do you see it?
670.
670,
Page 4.
670 on the plan.
Yep.
And the reason you're here is because it's a detached
Yeah,
structure.
so since it's a detached structure,
Otherwise, because it's under 750, you would have been allowed
with
to
just
do
a
it by
straight
right.
building permit,
Okay.
correct?
All right. Anything else you want to say at this point before we ask you questions? Okay.
No.
Corinne, start.
I don't have any questions now, just comments, so
Okay,
if you could come back to me.
be glad to. Thank you. Ken?
So the shared space would be the garage, right?
Correct.
So you're both, well, if someone's parents move in, they'll be parking their car there.
Correct.
Or whatever.
Right,
Um,
well, they would just primarily in the driveway. I wouldn't be sharing the downstairs space with them.
Yeah, but it's, yeah, but I guess that would count as a shared area. And it's not going any higher, whatever, it's pretty much, yeah, it's a 670 square feet. Yeah. All right, I have no other questions.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So they explained to you how an EFLA works?
Yes.
This will be deed restricted,
Yes,
and only immediate family can
correct.
stay in this. Okay, no further questions.
I have no questions, Madam Chairman.
I don't have any questions. I have comments, but no questions.
Okay, all right. And the first floor, are you changing the first floor at all with staircases, or the way that it's set up now?
Nope.
Are there two means of egress out of there?
Yes,
Uh,
downstairs?
So you're,
there's-
that staircase that you're showing, is that,
Correct, so there's a door at the bottom of the staircase. Oh, that's the upstairs. So there's a door at the bottom of the staircase, and then there's the second egress on the back deck.
okay, and that other staircase is already there?
Correct. Yeah,
So-
that's a deck off. the-
Exterior? Oh,
Correct.
it's a deck?
It's a
Okay.
deck with an exterior.
And it goes
staircase.
down to the ground?
Correct.
Okay.
And then
Got it.
there's a second.
I didn't go around back when I was there, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's a second egress on the downstairs floor as well.
Okay, okay. And you have all one set of utilities for
Correct.
both buildings, correct? Okay. All right, there we go. All right, any questions?
Madam Chair,
Go
can I
ahead.
ask one more question?
Absolutely,
So this unit would be on the second floor?
Correct.
yeah.
And I guess what thought was given to elderly persons trying to get up there? Because it just doesn't seem like an ideal setup on the second floor with stairs to climb.
Yeah, I mean, I think stairs are just, I mean, obviously, you know, most places have stairs, you know, it's virtually impossible to, you know, maintain the garage space and, instead of turning that space into the EFLA, so.
Thank you.
Okay, all right. Any questions or comments from the audience? What a quiet yes.
I'm Jen Espinola.
You have to go up
Come
to
up
the
to the mic.
microphone, please, so we could,
In regards to your question, I think if the time came, we would be able to put in like a chair lift if we had to accommodate elderly parents. But right now, our parents are
Yeah.
going strong,
Healthy.
knock on wood. So I just wanted to comment that. Thank you.
all right. Anybody else? Okay, I'm gonna go back to the board. Corinne?
I have a concern about this being an EFLA because, as you said, your parents don't have a need for it, and you don't really even have someone who's going to move into it now. And not that I'm against it, it's just, I think the proper time to apply for something like this would be when you need it, not necessarily now. So, you know, are you planning on, I guess, getting the appropriate relief from our board and then beginning the construction?
Correct.
So you're just gonna use it as like a second kitchen now?
Well, yeah, in the beginning, correct. As a second space.
Again, I don't really think that that's what the EFLA is designed for. You have to remember too that in Danvers, we only allow a certain amount of EFLAs per year. So to use one of those designations for someone who's not even gonna use it into the future, it's kind of unfair to people who kind of need that relief now.
Yeah.
So, right now, I'm a no. I think your house is great, and in the future, if you needed it, I would certainly vote for it, but not right now. So I'm a no.
Okay.
Could I ask how old your parents are, or is that out of line?
My mother's 67.
67?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's
So
better
they're getting up there, and she's, you know, she's tired of, you know, the building maintenance with her house and snow cleanup and all that stuff. And, you know, with the kids, we have 2 small children, so, you know, I think it's something that she'd want to do. We've already spoken about it. It's just, obviously, the process takes a while.
Yeah.
The building process and et cetera, so she'd still have to sell her house, so it wouldn't be a long-term thing, it just, the second it was done, it wouldn't be, you know, she wouldn't be moving in that minute. You know, but the process would start for her to, you know, potentially list her house, sell it, and then move in.
And also,
So
you-
you're gonna keep doing questions?
Oh,
Because we're
I'm
doing
sorry.
comments.
Deliberate.
You can,
Yeah.
if you have questions, go
well,
ahead.
are
but-
you aware of the, oh, well, I guess it's sort of a statement. There is a deed requirement, so
Yeah.
I guess your parent would have to be on the deed, right? I
No, they
mean,
don't,
right
they're
away?
not on the deed, it just says on
Just
the
a
deed that
restriction
it's,
on-
yeah.
Oh, so it has to be
yeah,
a family, but not the
Yeah.
name. Okay.
Yeah, it's not an individual.
All right, I guess I would be for this, just as long as it couldn't be used as a separate apartment for something else, but I guess with the separate utilities and, I
No,
mean,
s-
there's no separate utilities,
Yeah.
they have the one utility,
Right,
so. Yeah, I guess I would be for it.
okay.
I kind of tend to agree with Corinne. So I'm a little torn, but I guess I would vote for this.
I will vote for this.
Okay.
I will not vote for this. I think this is not in the spirit of the EFLA. I don't see how there's a common area here. I think most EFLAs that come before us, it's a joint structure. This is a separate structure. They don't have an immediate need right now. I'm not aware of any EFLAs we have that are.
Yeah, we did one
separate
on
structure.
Locust Street in a garage that was
Yeah, it wasn't in a
converted, but it
garage,
was the
but that was
first
an
floor.
attached garage, so.
Well, It was separate building. Yeah, that's why they're here, because otherwise they wouldn't even have to
Yeah.
be here.
I just look at this as a second structure in an apartment where only a single family is allowed, so I am a no.
Okay. I'm also torn about this, because I'd like to know that you need it, you know? I guess you're just saying that you want a whole apartment, but then you're just gonna cook for the pool? I mean, I'm confused by
No, well,
how you're gonna use this, I mean, because it's an apartment.
right.
Yeah.
Well, that would be my ultimate use for it. It just wouldn't happen right away. Like, I would build it, we would start the process of her, like, I don't want her list her house and not have a place to go, so obviously I would want to put it in place and then go through the process of her listing, selling her house, and then moving in. In the meantime, while that happened, obviously I would use the space if it was finished at the time.
I just feel like you should come when you need it, and you applied to put a kitchen in, is that what you did?
Yeah.
And that's how this got triggered?
Well, first I applied for the EFLA, right, and then Georgia had mentioned that there was no longer a need for a special permit for detached buildings. So I applied for the building permit, and then the building inspector told me that I had to come for a special permit.
Okay. All right. Well, you need 4 votes. I would go ahead and vote on this, but I will tell you that people watch Craigslist and people watch the advertisement, and if you advertise this as an apartment, people are gonna catch it.
Yeah. Well, it's a very small neighborhood. I know all of my neighbors. I'm not trying to add a 2-family house into a very quiet, nice neighborhood. I mean, you stopped by the other day.
Right.
That is not my intention at all.
Okay.
I want to finish the space, and I'd like to be able to have my mother move in the future. And that's near future, not 5
But she
years.
owns a house and she lives in her own house, and
Correct, so
she's not in any
she's gonna
need
sell
of
the house.
a place to go at this point.
No, but, I mean,
Okay.
obviously, as you know, it takes time, you know? I don't want to have her sell her house, move in downstairs with me while, you know, the construction takes place, and sometimes that takes a lot longer than you think it would take, and, you know, so I'd rather have it in place before we started that process of her selling her house.
Okay. All right. I guess you have 4 votes, which is what you need. So Get a motion to go ahead. Somebody?
So you're a yes?
Yes.
Madam Chair, I move that we issue the special permit in accordance with Section 9.3 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to allow an EFLA addition within an existing detached garage. The municipal water and sewer shall not be overloaded by the EFLA. The public streets shall not become overloaded by the EFLA. The value of other buildings and properties shall not be depreciated by the EFLA. The specific site is an appropriate location for the EFLA. The EFLA will not adversely affect the neighborhood. There will not be undue nuisance to vehicles or pedestrians, and adequate and proper facilities will be provided to ensure the proper operation of the proposed EFLA. The proposed EFLA will be in harmony with the general purpose of the bylaw.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay. All right. So you just meet with Georgia and they'll tell you how to move forward,
All right,
okay?
thank you.
Thank you. All right.
Ready?
Yep.
Our next case is 22 Charles Street, zoned R1. Request for a dimensional variance from Table 2 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow the construction of a new garage with a side setback of 5 feet where 8 feet is required. Request made by Jonathan Burt, docket 22-4968.
Good evening.
Good evening. My name's Jonathan Burt, and I'm requesting to put a 24-foot by 26-foot garage attached to the house. And setback is 8, and I'm requesting 5.
That's it?
Pretty straightforward.
So there's a little addition on the left side of the house with some stairs. You're going to leave that there?
Yes, that's part of the kitchen right now.
Yeah?
We're gonna extend it and just make it a mudroom, so it'll all be attached, and then the stairs will be going up.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. And how long have you been at this house?
We've been there since 2018.
Okay, fairly recent?
Yeah, 3 years, so
Okay,
almost.
good. All right, we'll start with John.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Burt, did you consider making it slightly smaller, the garage?
I did. The reason for that is I have, a project car that I work on, and when we have doors open and my wife's car parked in there, it's just a little too squeezed for anything
What was the other size you considered?
We considered putting a 22-foot in.
Yep.
But I think that would still bite into the variance by about a foot. And then, of course, the interior of that would only be 20, which just isn't wide enough for 2 cars
Okay.
comfortably.
No further questions.
I have no questions, Madam Chairman.
What's our required frontage in R1, 125?
Right here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
20 or?
10, oh, the frontage?
Frontage.
Yeah.
I guess because I'm trying to judge the width of the lot. That's his hardship.
No, his hardship is that he he
Well,
needs
I-
8
side
feet.
The
setback.
side
Yeah,
setback, but
yeah,
he's kind of constricted with the
Yeah.
frontage and which is the
but
width of the lot.
that's existing, yeah,
Right.
exactly.
I guess I don't have any questions, thank you.
Okay. Ken?
I have no questions.
I don't have any questions, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, and I don't really have any questions. I mean, 24 feet wide is kind of
pretty
a
standard.
standard two-car garage, so,
It's snug.
okay. Any questions or comments from the audience? Oh, quiet audience tonight. All right, go back to John.
Madam Chair, I see this lot size is very limited. I don't think the applicant has a lot of choices here, and I would vote in favor of this.
Okay.
I will vote in favor of this.
I will vote for this, only 3 feet difference, that's fine with me.
Okay.
Yep.
Ken?
I'll vote for this too. We usually, we could usually go about half of the setback, but yeah, that's even more than that, so I'd vote for this.
Corinne?
I will vote for this too.
Okay, and I will vote for this. All right, we need a motion.
Madam Chair, I vote to issue the dimensional variance from Table 2 of the Danvers zoning bylaws to allow a new 24 by 26-foot garage with a side setback of 5 feet where 8 is required. The hardship is the size and shape of the lot. This condition does not affect other properties or structures in the same zoning district. A literal enforcement of the zoning bylaw would involve substantial hardship to the applicant. And granting this variance will not create a substantial detriment to the public good and will not nullify or derogate from the intent and the purpose of the zoning bylaw.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, good luck.
Thank you all.
Georgia.
Another construction project.
Turn that mic up, I can't.
All right.
All right, our final case of the evening is 121 Holton Street, zoned R2. Request for a dimensional variance from Table 2 of the Danvers zoning bylaw to allow the construction of a new 10-foot by 16-foot shed with a rear setback of 5.9 feet where 15 feet is required. Request is made by Peter Swift, docket 22-4969.
Hi, thanks for coming back.
You're welcome. So yeah, that was my plan, is to take down the original 10 by 10 shed that's there. I moved the location to the end of my driveway. Right at the edge of the driveway, I'll have the 10 feet and then the setback of 16 feet. When I measure the back of that shed after the 16 feet, I come up about 82 inches on it. Unless it's, goes different, I'm not sure. But that far corner is about 82 inches, so I'm just shy 2 inches of 7 feet.
Okay. And I came out and met with you, and you actually like this better than your original plan, right?
Yeah,
It fits
be
better.
more convenient, actually.
Okay. It's
I
nice.
plan on having it level with the driveway, so I come out with the snow blower and the tools, and
Okay,
a lot easier that way, actually.
all right. See, sometimes coming back is better.
Gave me, I was able to think about things more, I guess.
All right, I'll ask Corinne to start.
I don't have any questions, thank you.
So the patio's not joining the shed, right? I mean,
It's
that's,
gonna be about 2 inches on, that's just like a walkway.
okay, yeah, you get you.
The patio, the actual patio's there, but that's just like a walkway to the end of the driveway there.
Yeah, get you.
I'll be on that, maybe 2 inches on that, on top of that.
I have no other questions.
I have no questions, thank you.
I have no questions.
And Mr. Swift, so the existing shed will just be raised? It'll be
The existing shed, I'm gonna take it down completely.
removed, okay,
Yeah,
yep.
it's gonna be completely removed.
And this setback is 5.9 feet, it looks like, right?
It might be 5.9 on that edge, but when I measure from the other edge, I got 82 inches, so it probably goes at an angle, the
Yeah.
fence itself.
Okay, no further questions.
I actually have a question
Go
now.
ahead.
When you were here last time, one of the suggestions was that you completely move it out of the no-build zone.
Correct.
And it's almost out, but it's still in there by a little bit. If you see that line, will that necessitate
it
the
is.
applicant having to go to the Conservation Commission?
So I'm happy to clarify, the no-build zone here, things are allowed to be built within the no-build zone. There are certain accessory structures, and in this case, this was allowed under a minor permit, essentially because that old shed is being removed, so that impervious coverage it's, if anything, this is actually a benefit and an improvement to what is there now. So that small little sliver over the no-build line is compensated by the removal of the other shed.
Okay. Okay,
Did
no,
you see this? It came?
I did
maybe
not,
not.
I did not
Yeah.
see this.
Okay.
That was my only question, thank you.
Just, I'll let you look at that.
Okay.
So, and the shed that you're getting, you can explain to us, I'll let Corinne read this while. You're gonna get a pre-built shed, it's just gonna come right in there,
Yeah,
essentially.
I think it comes together with the walls and the floor, and
Yeah,
they just slap it all together.
they put it all together. Okay, all right, great. Any questions or comments from the audience? No? Okay. Do you have any other questions after
No.
looking at that?
No, thank you.
Okay, all right. All right, we'll go back to the board. Let's start with John, down there. Corinne?
I will vote for this. This seems as if it's a much-needed improvement. Thank you.
I'll vote for this too.
Thanks for coming back in, I'll vote for this.
I will vote for this.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the applicant. I know, you know, this is, I think, is a much better plan. And, you know, I can understand the need for storage.
It's a
For
small
sure,
house,
especially on
small
a
basement, yeah.
small house. So, you know, and I'm glad, in your own admission, this seems like a better plan, so.
Thanks.
And I too would vote for it.
Okay, and I will vote for this too. So, can I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I move that we vote to issue the dimensional variance from Table 2 of the Danvers Zoning Bylaw to allow a new 10 by 16 shed with a, rear setback of 5.9 feet where 15 is required. The hardship is the size and shape of the lot. This condition does not affect other properties or structures in the same zoning district. A literal enforcement of the zoning bylaw would involve substantial hardship to the applicant, and granting this variance will not create a substantial detriment to the public good and will not nullify or derogate from the intent and purpose of the zoning bylaw.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, thank
Good
you.
luck.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thanks for waiting. We should have probably taken him first, but that's all right.
David want to speak to us?
David, you have
about
anything to
this?
say?
It's not that I don't want to speak to you, I don't have.
We
much
can't
to
hear
say.
you.
I was just shutting the plans off, so I'm back now.
We can't hear him.
Yeah, I don't know why, David,
Oh.
but for some reason the volume here is really low.
Oh, hold on, we got the AV guy running out here.
Do you catch?
We're gonna
some
get
of that?
help here.
Can you say something now?
Hi.
Oh,
Oh,
much
much
better.
better.
Like the Truman Show.
He's a real person.
Look like the Great Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
No, I did not have anything. I just shut the plans off so my head came up on screen.
So no announcements.
All right.
Okay.
So I'm just going to say that we have no cases for the next meeting, which is April 11th. And so our next meeting that we will be here at the Senior Center will be April 25th.
So,
All
Mr.
right.
Bradstreet, you have the night off.
Yeah, you hear that, Bill?
Madam Chair,
Have
motion
a
to
motion to
adjourn?
adjourn.
second
All in
that.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, Danvers. Good night.